Okay, we are live. Okay, I posted the other day a blog about Leah Hickman's timeline. We're kind of going to go down a rundown with that. Okay, what I could come up with, I don't know how accurate this is. Like I've read well over 1,000 comments, roughly, if well, way over that. Bunch of pages, articles I could find. But Leah and her sister went to the mall earlier that day. Uh, the second one was, Leah had spoken to her mother earlier that afternoon, and they discussed her returning home for the holidays. Her mother would promise to call her that evening, and her mother would later report the phone call just a normal call, and Leah had seemed excited to return home for the holidays. With this report, expect anything, usual to happen. It was just a normal phone call. What do you know? Told her mother. You might hear you know, our furnace kicking on. But Leah had spoken to her father. This is the third one that I posted on the blog around 3 p.m. But she had just received her grades and was happy with them. And she had talked about how she missed her father and was looking forward to seeing him when she came. This kind of makes me wonder if she had went to work around 11 to 12 ish, and the mom's phone call would be before 3 p.m. The fourth one is Leah's sister returned to the apartment for her lunch break around 3:30. But I also, read that it was 2:30, in between four. So I don't see somebody having an hour and a half lunch break. On the Nancy Gray, she actually said 3:30 to 4. That's more accurate, I would think, possibly. But said it. Leah was excited about her grades. And one thing I read that she was packing bags for the trip. And then I've read that, she was doing dishes too, but I don't know if she was doing dishes while she left. I think we possibly went out. Um, okay, I think we're still live. Okay. But she left around 4 while Leah was doing the dishes. That's what I would go with. This would be the last time she was seen alive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it says. All right.
Dishes.
But and then I talked to a gentleman on the phone, and he said that she was supposed to go like out to a bar or something with a friend. Because I kind of wondered, like, I don't see her going to her family this weekend because she had to work Saturday and Sunday. Like, I don't see that happening. Like, she might. Um, at some point, she would log into MySpace. I found out, which I think I posted on the blog. This was my rough draft that I'm looking at right now. But it was around 1:56 p.m. Uh, the sixth one, the last known contact with Leah was around 5:40. I've read 5:45. When she had spoken to a friend, she said she was getting dinner at McDonald's, and the receipt that was found at the apartment was at 5:40 ish. I think it said 5:40. Um, I've also read it was her sister that she talked to, but then also, like I said, it was a friend she talked to. So I'm not for sure. Like from my understanding, I think with that dude I talked on the phone, I remember correctly. That's what he said was that he had well, from what he heard, that she had called the friend that she was going to go hang out with. Excuse me. But the way I read it, she's already at McDonald's though. At least when she made the phone call, that's probably why she was sitting in the drive-through. But I don't believe any video surveillance was ever seen. I know some people wondered if maybe somebody followed her home or somebody was already in the car with her at that point. Uh, I've never really been able to find out anything to verify either one of those things. But the McDonald's that is close to the apartment at the time was roughly a 6-minute round trip, minus the ordering food, waiting on food, traffic, stuff like that, which 5 something evening might not have been as bad. Um, we could assume maybe 10 minutes. So we don't know for sure when she returned to the apartment. So we're looking roughly 6 o'clock, give or take. The seventh thing that I mentioned on the timeline is Leah's sister didn't return to the apartment that evening. After she got off work, she opted to spend the weekend with her boyfriend. I'm assuming Leah knew this perhaps beforehand that her sister wouldn't be returning, and then I eventually read that this was a pretty well routine thing each week. So that's up with a lot of people like that. If they got a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, they go spend the time with them on the weekends. I also read something about that she went to, because we'll have to get in that later, but she went to like a party, like a Christmas party or something with them. Leah's mother and 2 friends of Leah's would call Leah's phone that evening. They would all go to voicemail. Leah's mother would call on Saturday morning, and her phone was great with Leah's voicemail being full. This was out of character for Leah not returning phone calls. I read the mother tried calling around 9 p.m. that night. So, time frame, if she got home, say 6, voicemail around 9, 3-hour gap. Her sister would go to the apartment around, I've read 4 p.m. and then I've read 1 p.m. So I think it was 2 different timelines I read that on. Because it said she made the MySpace post at like 1 something, but if she hadn't went to the apartment, then why would she post, the "Where are you, sister?" Um, but her mom, either way, whatever time she went, they'd basically go to call, check up on her, and she found all the stuff still there. And they said that the McDonald's wrapper was on the on like the counter or something. I don't know how true that is. I've asked other people and they weren't sure. Me and her like discussed this for 20 minutes the other night. But because the receipt was, and the door nearest the laundry room was slightly opened. So I don't know the door because I've been told that she lived in the downstairs. I've been told she lived in the upstairs. Like this is how confusing this has drove me this whole week. Because she lived upstairs. From my understanding, that back laundry room, like the back door, it goes down. Like as soon as you open it, goes down the basement, and then you're right there in the laundry room. Like I'm not for sure that if she was upstairs, I'm assuming the apartment was locked, just the back door's open, and the way I understood it was open for anybody to walk in there. And then, like I said, she'd make the post about the Leah Hickman. And WSAZ reporter said the apartment door was locked. And there was the car door open as well, her back car door, I think, passenger. Because if I'm from the picture, like apartments facing this way, you got the street here, and you got the street that goes alongside. I think her car is facing this way towards, I don't know what, because 8th Avenue runs across. So it'd be the side street. So it'd been like basically her passenger door that was open, the back would have been going right to her apartment. So I'm assuming the back door, like I said, was what was open on the apartment. So you got car back door barely open. Like she might not shut it all the way because somebody wondered if maybe she got caught in the parking lot. Well, I guess you'd say parking lot, but it ain't really a parking lot. See, this is a discussion me and her had about the wrappers. Well, before we go into the wrapper discussion, most people, this is kind of where it gets to the post that was made by the sister. Because in the episode I done on the podcast about this, like I don't show a lot of emotion towards things. Like I do and I don't. But at this point, she don't know what's wrong with her sister. Like she don't know nothing. So like, oh sister, why are you? Like it could be a prank, something of that nature. But That's what we got to remember at this point in time, because I know a lot of people use that against her. But okay, now we're going into the McDonald's wrappers. This is what makes me think, and like I said, why we had like a 20-minute discussion on it. This, you know, it, I'm assuming the trash might be wherever she threw the receipt at was along the way, because we went into discussion of like, what do you do with the receipt when you get it? You know, they might put it in the bag, or they might hand it to you afterwards or before they give you your food. Like for me, I keep a bag in the passenger side floorboard where I throw my trash away. In that sense, I would most likely throw it away there, or maybe put it in the middle beside my seat to throw away later. Or I just wait until they give me the bag. If it's not in the bag, I'll just put it in the bag itself. So I don't know how 100% accurate this is, but so if the receipt was in the trash, she threw it. But yeah, I'm assuming as she walked by. But if it's already in the bag, you would. If her wrappers were on the counter wherever she ate the food at. I'm not sure where she ate at. I don't know if she probably ate in the living room, maybe her bedroom. I'm not sure. Then again, like I said, the wrappers might have been in the trash, but I've only heard that they were on a counter. So to me, I kind of wonder if she got interrupted by eating, like knock on the door. She went, knew who it was, opened it, finished her food, and then, excuse me, got attacked. That's kind of what I've kind of wondered about. Because I kind of assumed she would throw away the wrappers because everything that I've heard about her, she's a real nice girl. She just seems kind of like one that would throw everything away. So I'm kind of wondering if she got interrupted.
I don't know how you make that judgment about somebody. Like,
I don't know.
I don't
It's
look
just,
at someone and be like, oh, they would throw their wrappers away.
well, you know what I mean now. Which it might be like it. There's probably nothing to it. I'm just kind of looking at other different, little things here and there that maybe was missed along the way. We're nothing special. We're just local people in the area that happen to be in the true crime, and I do paranormal investigations for 11 years. So I've always been interested in the whole research, going out to location, stuff like that. So, and I've always
I
been in the
like
true crime.
aliens.
And, I like mooses and ties. Um, I don't, I don't know. Like we talked forever about this. Like, so there's probably nothing to it, but I just kind of wonder.
You're making it too complicated.
Well, it could be complicated. Like I really, like I said, I don't know. That's my thing. I really don't
Like, there's
know.
a bunch of scenarios. Like, there's too many. You're not gonna figure it out. No one knows but her. Like, she knows what she did. She knows where she puts her wrappers.
Yes. But you know what I mean?
You're too
Like,
focused on the wrappers.
say her rappers, like where we're at. We pass the trash can. We throw a receipt there. We come in here, eat. We're sitting down. If somebody comes in, then I'm like, okay, I know who they are. Bam. They come in. We sit there talk. I finish my food. Then they, kill me afterwards. That's what I'm saying. There could, but you're thinking though, she died of strangulation, which I haven't got into that far. Which anybody that knows the case knows that's what happened. But there was no struggle in the apartment. That's the weird thing. Like,
Well, if
you know,
I came through the door, I wouldn't have to struggle to get him, but I could still, like, get you right now.
well, I'd finish my food first and leave the wrappers. Is my whole point. Like I said, I don't know if the wrappers are honestly left there. That's just what I've read or seen, watched
I think
somewhere. I
it's
can't
all
remember.
too mixed up. Like, there's too many, like, everything that you read on it, there's always something different about everything you read.
So far, yes.
Like,
Like,
there's not a solid piece of
I think I
nothing.
have like 30 some, 40 some pages printed off. And I've been studying for a good little bit. And I've had notes before, and I've talked to, like I said, to a few people. Um, I just don't know exactly where this goes. I'm just making up assumptions, throwing things out there. Like I said, it could just be nothing. She just may just not want to throw them away. But I was told too, the one gentleman I talked to on the phone, he said that because there's which I'll explain later in maybe another video or blog. But somebody said that there was clothes in the back of her car. But then he was telling me that there was clothes in the washer, that she was washing her clothes. And I've read that she was basically in the shower. Like, you could tell she had taken a shower. I don't know how you could tell somebody was taking a shower. Because say she gets back at 6, they didn't find her for a week later, is what I'm saying.
Or maybe like
The only person that seen her last was her sister and whoever killed her.
But the medical examiner could tell, like, if the residue on the skin and stuff like that, maybe it was soap. Like, I'm sure they could tell stuff like that. Like, she probably wasn't very
No,
dirty.
this is before they found her. From my understanding, they said that she had taken a shower. So I don't know. That's just because. Okay, so say you're looking at she returned home at 6, 8. Say she showered. Just say by 6:30. If her sister didn't get there, like I said, I've read 1, but I think 4 is the accurate time. So you're looking at 4 o'clock. That's almost a day. Like, the shower is going to be dry, unless the only thing I can think of is maybe she had a towel sitting out, or maybe she had a pile of whatever she wore laying on the floor like she just got in.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of. She might not even taken a shower, but with that guy telling me that she was supposed to go out bar hopping with a friend and stuff like that, going to hang out.
Ready.
So, that's kind of, which, if that was the case, then maybe she sent her wrappers away then. Just when I got ready, then all that. But if she was packing bags, like basically her keys, everything. Because my thing with that, like if she did go, like if she was washing clothes, like would she have locked the apartment? Because if the apartment door was locked, then
Fine, right?
yes.
Yeah, I would.
And like I said, this was 12 years ago still. Like with the back door being, because he was saying there was meters in there for, AEP to go in and look at, just lined up on the wall, which I guess when they remodeled it, they put them outside for people. So they wouldn't have to go in, which makes sense. I don't know why somebody would have in a building, like, which yeah, it's a farm, but where the laundry room was for everybody. Like, say he just said anybody could walk off the street. You're right down there in the basement, because he said they had to, you know, fix all that up, and I guess they made it to the back door can be locked. But either way, like if she took a shower, she had to have been interrupted at some point. But the door, like I said, you think you would lock the apartment. If not, then why would the apartment door be locked if she didn't lock it?
I guess it just depends on who you are, because even like if I take the trash out, I'll lock the door.
Oh yeah, well, we live out in the country, like, and we can.
No, I mean,
I know.
I get a mom's apartment. Like I always lock the door for everything.
Well, yeah, you're in.
Like even if I go outside for a little bit.
Well, where you're at though, you can't see because somebody can sneak around. Like here, we can see, where our trash bins and mailboxes are at. We can see everything. I don't know. Like I said, probably just making a bigger issue out of it than it really is. But we're still looking at a 6 to 9 time frame. So, what kind of makes me want, like, with girls, with anybody now, like back when I had a cell phone back in like 2007, 2008, 2009, I kept my phone off all the time, which was very weird. I had like my brother and stuff made fun of me for keeping it off, so nobody could ever get a hold of me. I don't think that always goes like that though, because they said even like if she would call somebody or didn't call somebody, that she would return the call like nonstop. But with the voicemails though being open, not open but full, pretty soon. I mean, she had a lot of phone calls. I don't know how much. Which phone store? This is 12 years ago. We're looking at. Like I know technology with phones have definitely increased. See, in 2007, I was 18. You were 10. Did you have a phone at 10?
I don't know.
I can't remember exactly because I'm not even sure if it's ever said what type of cell phone she had, which it's never been found though. So when you're looking at, I don't know, you're just looking at like too many variables, I guess. But I'm assuming she would have kept it on unless the battery died. But with it going straight to voicemail right after that was the last ping that they got was on at the last phone call she made. That's the last time it was ever used. Last time they could get
To
anything.
who?
To I've read her friend or her sister. Like that's how bad it is. Like
Well, if she was going out, I would probably assume friend, unless she was going with her sister. But her sister would have said that like we were gonna go out.
Well, that's what I. Hold on, let me get my paper. Wait, which paper is that on? Was it this one? Yeah, okay. I don't know. I can't remember. I read the sister thing at the sister, but I've always heard either one. But because I read too that like her sister didn't know what she was doing, and then she said that she did know what she was doing because she said about, but her bag, like I said, her bags were still there, keys were there, and they said that like the keys. But one thing I read that they had a coat missing, which I go on in the next part about that. We'll move on from this. Sorry if we really if I went out there too much on it. Okay, the 10th one was Leah did not show up to her 4-hour shift scheduled at 5 p.m. at Dress Barn, which I'm going to go into detail about Dress Barn. This company did help out a lot. They paid for a funeral, offered up a $10,000 reward. Like they really, really took care of everything with Leah. Like they really loved this girl. They talked about she was an angel and all that. Yeah, that's a good company, for them to go that deep into it.
Are they even like? I think they shut down, didn't they?
I don't know.
That particular one, I think, did, but I mean, like the whole company itself.
I've never really realized where it was at, but I've been in that
It was
area.
up at Target.
Well, I know I've been there all this time. Over the years, but I've never paid attention if that's up, if it's still up there or not. And when was last? We've been up there. When were we up there last?
Doesn't matter. Anyways.
Yeah, but this would make the family alarmed because they said like if she was running late, they're like she would call. So if she's gonna call off, she's gonna call. The next day, this would be Sunday at 4:48. Her mother would contact the police to report her missing because there was, she felt up to miss work then too. Okay, like I said, unlike her not to call when she was running late, anything like that, like this was unusual activity. The investigation would begin, and a bloodhound would be brought in and would track her scent to the driveway. See, I haven't went into it, like I said earlier, I haven't went into the whole thing with her body. So,
Why do you say it like that?
I'm sorry, but so we haven't went into that far yet. But bloodhounds are mostly detected for a scent, not a body. So it's most likely.
They have
Well, they
dogs
do, but
for that.
these dogs were trained. Yeah, they do. But bloodhounds they brought in because they only assumed she was missing, so they're probably like, "Here, smell her shirt." But they only picked up her scent from the car. But I kind of wondered is the scent was from when she got back from McDonald's, and it was basically going back into the apartment, and that's where they picked. But I don't even think because they didn't pick up her scent like around around the perimeter, and I don't. Which they probably didn't do it inside because her scent would have already been in there because she was in there that day. But I think it was just from her car, so that was probably just from car there. And I read she owned 6 jackets, and one of them was unaccounted for. It said I think a brown one with a fur collar, I think, was missing. But I also read it was never missing. So it seems like I read one thing.
That's such a far stretch too, because you never know. Like she could let a friend borrow it. She could have left it at a friend's house. Like it'd be a boyfriend's house.
I know, like I said, that's one thing. It's really like this whole week. I probably spent 3 days on this blog, and like it's not a
3 days on the wrappers.
Yes, but like the timeline, it's not a whole lot because I didn't include a lot of it that I'm going over. This was just like my opinions on these, but the ones I put on there was what I could come up with. But I read so much and spent so much time on this, and I still, like I said, do not feel it's 100% accurate. But either way, though, whether Jack was missing, like I said, I read one thing, then I read the opposite. It's so hard to figure out which one. Like my mind's not wrapped around this completely. Like I said, the last activity that we talked about a little bit ago was her cell phone. Was a phone call to her friend or sister. Mike said either her phone died afterwards, turned off, or something, which I don't see well, especially now, like I said, I kept mine off. Like, everybody depends on their cell phone, and I forgot mine the other day home. So I
What do
had
you
to,
say, 2007 there?
yeah. But when she's in Huntington, she probably like if you have
Well,
because
yeah, she has service, but
like I don't have good service here, so if I turn it off here, it's fine.
she could have let it die, or
She might have that much. If that's the only way that people can get a hold of her. She might not have.
well, she might have a house phone.
She might not.
Well, she may not have, but either way, like it's not like crazy for a phone to die.
Well, I know, but it would just be weird because it's the last time it's ever been turned on, and it's never been found. So that means somebody most likely stole it.
Whoever done it probably took it and done something with it.
Well, yes, but I just
He's drinking a drink. Sorry.
It was milk. Are you trying to say I'm drinking something else?
No, I was saying you were taking a drink.
I don't know. I don't know. I just see because from the way everybody talks, it's uncommon possibly for her to do that. I did read something. I want to say it was on the Web Sleuth site. I really don't know what to think of it. Me and you talked about this a little bit. Okay, before we go into this, it still connects into this. Okay, her phone. So most likely it never was, like I said, never found. Killer either took it, shoot, because some people said, maybe he took it for a souvenir, or they just discarded it because it had something on there that could pinpoint back to them. But what I read the other day, it mentioned that she had two cell phones, but I don't think that's true.
Did someone know about it?
Yes, I don't like nobody's ever brought it up besides just one comment I read, and they were talking about because they're like, well, maybe like she had two and then had a SIM card, or something like that for other business, but they just said she had one SIM
for like talking and texting and stuff.
I don't know, like, because technology with phones back then must whatever kind of video. Hold on a minute. The battery's running low. What? Who? My cousin got these pajamas for me. I thought they looked very professional tonight. So I personally feel like I was saying before I had to plug the laptop in. I personally feel she only had the one phone because out of just say for an example, out of the 100 comments I read on a cell phone, 99 mentioned one cell phone. Like that's how pretty common it was.
Probably
one cell phone.
more than likely.
She might have had old ones she never discarded, maybe, and that's maybe where they got it.
But yeah, but like, have you ever done that? Like, you had important pictures on one phone, so you just like kept it until you could figure out how to get it off.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I've heard people doing that.
Yeah, I've done that, but I didn't have like two functioning phones.
That's the way they were saying. Like she was using one. Like no, like some people, like you said, just keep it. But okay, coverage of the case would get out there. Like Nancy Drew picked it up. Our local news stations were going crazy with it. And that's what they were kind of saying, like where the media was kind of making this a big issue, like getting answers. The cops kind of felt, a little upset about that, like threatened, I guess. But, this happened all on the 14th. Sadly, her body on the 21st, well, it would be found in the Crawlspace located in the laundry room area. Body was wrapped in plastic. And like I said, at the time they didn't know it was her, but on Christmas Eve they did, they assumed it was her.
It's in plastic?
Yes, it was in plastic. We'll go
into that was like planned. Yeah, someone purposely came to do that.
We're going to explain more on this later because I just wanted to do the basic timeline. We're going to do more into probably a blog, a little bit more about her body, details that I've read or been talked to about, about her body. But,
and I'm very forgetful. Like we have talked about all this before. So
we've talked about it all week. That's kind of why we've been kind of iffy on where we didn't get an episode out on Friday. This is kind of why, because we've been about this all week.
Like if I seem like surprised by something, like we have 3 kids, and
that's why we're also doing the live video.
like a hectic
My
life. So don't be like, oh, well, she didn't even go over the stuff. Like, yeah, I probably have several times and just like forget
well,
details.
my brother and sister-in-law and stuff's in.
Yeah.
So we've been visiting with them as well. Um, but yeah, basically wrapped in plastic. We'll go into more detail about that because same thing with everything else. I read one thing, read another thing. But on Christmas Eve, they already assumed it was her. I'm sure she started decomposing, not to go into detail, but I'm still sure it was still enough to know it was her. But, Christmas Eve, it was confirmed it was Leah. And the crazy thing well, it's not really crazy, but it was reported she most likely had been dead since the 14th. So you're looking at 7 days. So, well, like I said, we'll go more into detail. And, his last known days she was seen alive. And my thing is, I've read and been told everything about the crawl space. Like, everybody's like, well, why wasn't she found, then? But like I said, they didn't, before we go, like,
Well, didn't they say the crawl space was like awkward?
well, it wasn't, like, they said it had to be basically illuminated to see it. And, at the time, they weren't really, they weren't looking, they didn't think she was dead. They were looking for a missing teen, young adult because she's 21. Like, that's what they were looking for. I'm sure if they would have went in on the 14th to be like, oh, she's dead,
Had like
they
a
would have,
different dog.
well, yeah, they would have searched the apartment more. I don't think they searched it very good because they only thought she was missing, and they didn't know that anything, nobody had killed her or hurt her or anything. Like, they didn't know that she was in danger. Basically, they just assumed she was missing. Which at that age, they probably like, well, she's just went off on her own type thing.
Well, I wonder, like how I said, oh, that would have to be planned. Like someone brought plastic. Like, remember how he said, like maybe someone like was doing something and she walked in
Yeah.
and saw something she shouldn't have. Like, oh no, it's Huntington. Who knows? But like maybe they like hid her and then went and got the plastic. Like maybe it wasn't planned. Maybe it was just like a like unfortunate thing. Wrong place, wrong time.
That's we'll go into more of that later with the body and all that.
Why not now? I am ready to talk now.
We can talk about it after this video. This is just kind of discussing more and going more in the timeline and my opinions on everything I share in the blog. I'll put the link to the blog in it so you can kind of go with that if you watch this video. This is the first live video we done, so sorry if we kind of just ramble on and don't make sense.
Amateurs.
And I don't make sense half the time when I talk because I jump around and make conclusions. But going back to the crawl space, it wasn't in plain sight. Like I said, they weren't looking for, her being dead. And the gentleman I talked to on the phone, he had told me that like the crawl space, he said about 2 to 3 foot roughly to get in. And then like the more he went in, it kind of opened up a little bit more, like a little bit more height. Because some people I've read that there was like compartments, like if she was in a compartment, like you basically had to push her in from the back, like from her feet, basically. I was like, that would be a lot. But the way he talked, went about halfway underneath the building, and you could move it. You'd be able to go under there, and pull her under there, and then be able to maneuver around to get back out. So
Not to go off beat or anything, but like a crawl space, like in that movie we watched with Casey.
Pretty much,
like
basically, because what I've read is like pipes and stuff underneath it, like underneath those stuff like that. Like if somebody had to get under there to work on something, they could get underneath there and work on something. So yeah, it'd be kind of like the crawl
basically
space.
just under the house.
Yes.
Under the building, yeah.
Like you had basement, and then there was an opening to go in there.
Yeah.
And they just went pretty good ways. Which he said, like you could put a lot of washer and dryers down there, and still have enough room. Like he said, it's a big basement, and so, like, I've never been in the building. I've been outside of the building years ago, and
I saw pictures.
Yes, it looks creepy though, even without knowing that there's a body found in there.
Everything in Huntington's creepy.
Yeah, which they said there's like abandoned houses and stuff like that, and now Huntington. I don't know how bad it is now, but here recently it was well, drugs are everywhere. So, but like I said, we'll go into more detail, which because my next vlog I plan on talking, about more about our body, and we'll probably like to do a little video on it. Well, probably not little because it's 35 minutes, and we'll discuss more about the plastic
We're
stuff.
not talking about anything else.
I don't have everything prepared for the next one.
I meant right now.
No, that's basically the end of it.
I thought
It's a timeline of basically that morning to when they found her body.
we'll plan better for the next one.
It was planned good. I planned this all week.
I know. I'm saying we'll do better.
Like, there's a lot of more stuff I can put together. But
I know,
thank
I
you
thought we were
guys.
talking about it.
I wasn't expecting really anybody to watch the live
I
video.
think that means one viewer.
That
So
could
thank you, one viewer.
That could just be us.
Oh, well, thanks
Because
us.
nobody said anything in the live chat. Like, I wasn't expecting nobody because it is late.
Well, maybe they
But,
don't wanna talk.
we have family visiting, like we said, and 3 kids. They didn't get to bed till 10, because it was a little bit later. So we kind of knew it was going to be a late night, which most of our videos, when we do live, it probably will be later, especially on school nights. They're in bed by 9:30, or in the process of,
Well, 9.
well, usually the oldest one, he's usually watching TV until 9:30ish, but he's already, laying down. So it'll probably be later, which this is kind of easier.
Do these stay on here after you're not live?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they do, unless I delete. Like, I done another one the other day to test it, and it stayed on there, and I just
If
put it in
you're
that.
one viewer, let us know.
I'm sure they do. Like, it's easier to do a live video than trying to upload videos. Half the time when I try to upload anything, I always have
I think
success.
you have to set it to do that because I watch Brandon Ferris, and he has to, I think you have to leave it on there because other people I've seen live, you can't get the videos back, but Brandon Ferris, you can go back and rewatch his lives. So maybe it's like a settings thing.
I don't know. We're going into nonsense now. But thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, whether the video is up or not, it should stay up. If not, then I'm sorry. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you all on the next one.